Thank you all for coming. Incredible turnout today. Really excited for this panel. We have Cassie Nelson, Lucas Howard, and Colleen Miklus. Christina
Your guest
Gennari.
surprise this morning?
Yeah, Christina was unable to join us last minute, and Colleen graciously stepped in and is agreed to speak. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves I'm going to ask the first two questions. We'll ask both of them together. Colleen, we'll start with you. 60 seconds or less. How would you answer, what do you actually do in real estate? And then what's one surprising thing about your career that people wouldn't expect just by looking at your success from the outside?
Got it. Thank you. Thanks for having me today. I'm your guest surprise today. I would say if you had to ask me what I do, I manage people's wealth. From either buying, selling, or investing with your clients to help them make smart decisions in their long-term wealth and their long-term financial goals. I also lead a real estate team. Also a partner investor in the Market Center where I'm constantly mentoring agents as well as creating systems that can deliver results, right? From the rejection, all the rejection and failure that happened along the way, I would probably say that what you don't see, right? People see the outside of you. They don't see the sleepless nights, the late nights, the early mornings, maybe the lack of follow through from a lead that you forgot, right? We've all done it. We've all been there. The business, it's a grind and it's every day. So what keeps me going, I think, is the resilience and the every day to keep showing up.
Love it.
Go, it's your turn. Thanks. I only had an hour and a half.
Lucas, tell everybody, what do you actually do in real estate?
Oh man, actually seeing this right before I sat down here, I feel like a conductor at this point. I am the regional director for Michigan and Northern Ohio. I'm blessed to run 3 offices or market centers and my team since, 2012, 13. I feel like a conductor, especially with the team. I'm still very involved. I still get in the trenches, put down the conductor wand and get in the trenches and prospect with them. Do enough business to keep dangerous. I will say tied to pivotal point where either almost got out. Heck, I've almost quit many times in the last 20 and a half years. Having said that, my most successful year as a solo agent, I did 110 sales exactly with no assistant, no transaction coordinator, and from the outside that looked pretty good. I came home and told my wife I quit. It's funny to think about now. I had a coach. I didn't listen to him at the time. This is years ago. I didn't leverage. And it was either a point of learn or I was getting out. I was burnout. Yet everybody was giving me, I was unhappy that year. Most unhappy year in real estate. So yeah, learned, leveraged from there, and yeah.
Love it. And for those of you that don't know, Lucas is not local to the area. He's got a team in Michigan. So anything else you want to add? Just tell him about your team, or?
Yeah, team's done as many as over 400 units. We're a team of specialists. Usually have 5 buyers agents, 2 listing agents, and administrative side. Taking this role, crashed and burned a little bit. My top 4 people, including my brother, went back to the ministry and went down about 200 units. So. I got to jump back in and rebuild. Yeah, West Michigan, Grand Rapids specifically, and Traverse City, my hometown. Happy to serve your referrals.
Amazing. Cassie, what about for you? What do you actually do in real estate, and one surprising thing?
I do whatever the Young Team tells me to do.
That is
good answer.
Good answer. The panel. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been with the Young Team. It'll be 2 years in October, and I help people with the biggest decision of their life, and I enjoy doing it. The biggest surprise about me, which if you asked me 15 years ago if I would be here, I would say no. I worked at a factory and got my license and just did friends and family for additional income, and it turned into me being here today.
Incredible. So that kind of leads us into the next question. Cassie, what was a pivotal moment in your career when you either leveled up or nearly quit, and what did you learn from it?
For me, not nearly quit. I had to level up at one point. When I got my license 13 years ago, just worked with friends and family. After that, I got an office manager job with a small team that was just building. making a salary, $35,000 a year. I was content. I had my Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I needed a change, for my family. And so we needed a buyer's agent on the team. We couldn't consistently keep one. So I kind of had to make the really tough decision to kind of move from a comfortable salary role to going into straight 100% commission at that point. So I had to level up, and my first year I doubled what I was making salary, and it's been able to increase that from there.
Incredible. Lucas, what about for you? Be curious, you just mentioned a lot of different things.
I did. I probably mentioned that the quit or move on and level up. That was my probably biggest pivotal where I decided I'm done. Emotionally, physically, I was just unhappy and yet succeeding at a high level. And that forced me to leverage at a high level, not only for myself, but now my future team. So to the point of learning lesson, 7 agents doing over 400 deals, that propelled me into that. And thankfully I did choose to stick with it and level up instead of going to get another job.
That's incredible. Colleen?
I think in my real estate world, I was a solo agent for 15 years, and I've been at Keller Williams 6 years, so I started the team here in 19. But when I hit the 10 million mark at my last brokerage, and I kept hitting the 10 million mark, and I kept hitting and it just got old. And I was like, there has to be more out there than just 10 million. I want to think big, and I want to double, or even if it was a 20% increase. I do have a retail background, so it's always, we want double-digit increases all the time. And so I interviewed here for 2 years. It took me to get over here. But my relationships here at the time with some of the agents and the team leader, there was like a whole new world out there that I didn't realize. And I have to say this, being at 4 past brokerages, and some of you have heard me say this before, so I apologize for the repetition. This has been life-changing for me, this place at Keller Williams, and that was the time I wanted to quit because I just didn't know anything else out there. So when you want to talk about like who you surround yourself with, I needed to get out of my little past brokerage zone and go meet bigger people and have bigger conversations. And when I did, I just decided to pull the trigger, and some of my partners are in this room now. I never thought I'd ask to be a partner, and we've hit as high as 28 million on the team. It's just been an explosion for me, for my family, especially now that I have college tuition. And just overall, just everything that your big life can do for you,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So something else I feel like we hear on a lot of these panels is the emotional roller coaster of real estate. All 3 panelists have already touched on it, but Colleen, we'll start with you. Real estate's an emotional roller coaster. How do you stay mentally strong and focused, especially when deals fall apart or momentum dips?
So in my earlier days, I would get upset and be very emotional. And I learned as I matured, as I grew with more education in this business, more responsibility, having a team, that I always tell my team, when your clients are upset, you're upset, your clients are going to get upset. Don't relay that and pass that on. If some agent is on the other end and you just can't get things together, your client really doesn't need to know that, right? You never know when you're going to meet that agent again and do another deal. But for me, I think reading books, I will say right now I'm reading Main Street Millionaire. If you don't know Cody Sanchez, she's a badass, and I love her, the business she has built. I also think exercising clears my head. So to go for a nice walk in the morning and it's helped me knowing that just don't be transactional. This is a relationship business, so you can't just focus on the one deal that is falling apart.
Love it. Lucas, what about for you? And do you notice anything different, like from the agent side or from running the team, running the market center?
If you're in our world, on any of those levels, you'll hear my wife and I say a lot. There are no emergencies in real estate. And when you take that outlook and are able to step back from what feels like an emergency, you're then able to have a level of peace to communicate with your clients or the other agent on the other side. Because yesterday while I was driving through Ohio, I had one of my agents call and leave a message. I was teaching a class and she was all frantic because she got a nasty voicemail, horrible, from the other side, upset about what was going on in the transaction. And she's a newer and young agent. Just coach her, all right, take a step back, have a moment of quiet reflection, take a breath, and then treat it as if it's not come into it with a level of peace and level-headedness. that I think does come with an aspect of maturity in that.
Someone said real quick,
Yeah.
someone said yesterday, or the other day I heard, if the appraisal is low at 11 o'clock, it's still low at 3 o'clock.
That's
I love that.
that's a fact. That's a fact.
We used to say, which is probably a poor choice of words, like, there's no house fires, and we've only had one actual house fire in the Young Team, and it's like they had to call the fire department. Like, don't call us. Like, we are not the right person. Cassie, what about for you?
For me, it's having a positive attitude towards it. You know, a deal falling apart isn't going to make or break my year. You learn from it. Learn if you can learn something you did, what the buyer seller did. You learn from it, and you just keep moving. You can't let it affect how you do your day-to-day activity.
Incredible. What about, is there a belief or mindset shift that you had to adopt that changed everything for your business? Cassie?
Mine was probably when I went into that sales role. You know, my mind shift definitely had to change. You know, I had to have the conversations with my family that I'm not going to have that 9-to-5 job anymore. So your mind definitely had to change with, you know, my daily activity with my family and friends and what that looked like.
Cool. Lucas, what about for you?
I have a little sign that team made, again, from life lessons in this business, and it doesn't stop at the first sentence. One, it's going to be okay. In fact, it has an opportunity to be better. And that's where the goal's at. And that's situational, that is focused on the team. I even look at that in my quiet time reflecting on my business. It's going to be okay. And it has an opportunity to be better, and that's where the goal lies. Focus on that, either situational or in your business.
Yeah, I love that. Colleen?
I had to realize that I'm just not in the business of selling homes. I'm in the business of building relationships and solving problems. That's really what we're in this business to do. And when you develop a mindset of that, your business is going to explode. The referrals are going to roll in, and you got to stop thinking about the next deal and selling homes. It's build that relationship. It's amazing what one person can do, and all the referrals around them, and throughout a life, you might have a client for life, as they say.
The house is just the byproduct.
Right?
Yep. All right, let's talk about like shifting market. I know that's a big topic for everybody. Colleen, what have you seen changes in buyer and seller behavior? What have you stopped doing, and what have you doubled down?
Well, if you don't follow the Colleen Miklus team, we have doubled down on our social media.
What's the Instagram handle for everybody to pull out their phones real quickly and follow
Colleen
you?
Miklus team. So we hired a marketing coordinator last September, and it's really, I mean, even besides just house referrals, I got 3 referrals from my daughter who just graduated from her master's. Just me putting it out there, and people DMing me. So that's something definitely we've doubled down on. In terms of sellers, I really think it's developing when you're on a listing presentation, knowing that personality type, if they're the high C and they need the data, or the high D and they're driven and they just want the black and white, and what are you going to do to sell my house? But really being intentional about that and pricing right. The market has shifted. We don't have the greedy sellers where we're getting the 27 multiple offers. You might get 2, if that. In terms of a buyer change, are you getting the buyers that are still saying the rates are high, right? According to NAR, over the past 30 years, the interest rate on average is 7%, and this morning, I just talked to Sean Hadley, it's at 6.13. So are they really high? Or can you kind of battle that and challenge that conversation, right? The 7 reasons why people move, we consistently talk about that. Think of a buyer you have right now. They will fall into one of those categories, right? So it's not about timing the market, it's about timing their life. That's my closing line there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Lucas, what about for you? What's the team doubling down on? What's the team stop doing?
Oh man, from a former, you and I talked about this a little bit, little egg on our face, a former team that was a true prospecting team. We didn't do Zillow, we didn't do the other things to do over 400 units. To what did we stop doing? We became a lead receiving team because it was easy. And our agents now, as a discussion, and this is recent, well, what did we do? They're asking the question, what were we doing differently? And I said, do you want to know the real answer? I have the data. And from the moment you joined our team to myself, going back as an agent all these years, I did 20 contacts a day. which is funny. Even my team, those that were with me before when we did that, we crushed it with that. We began lead receiving and it got easy. It's a little less easy right now. And some of us were hitting 20 contacts a week. That isn't working, and we know it worked before. So we're doubling down, going back to, we did it before, we can do it again, and let's work towards 20 contacts a day.
I love it. It's like the expression is simple, not easy.
Yep.
It's not easy to hit 20 contacts a day. It's simple though.
Yep.
Like it's
well said.
It's so simple. Cassie, how about for you?
I think doubling down on like your time is so valuable. Like me 13 years ago probably would have like run whenever someone called me, answered the phone right away, responded right away, where it's your time is so valuable. Like learning that gives you also like more focus on other things. And then doubling down, you know, for 13 years I've always done like the buyer intake sessions, but even more so with the changes, like asking all the correct questions, you know, making sure you know the motivation and exactly what they're looking for. So you limit that time that you're just running to do things when that's valuable. You want to get them, you know, exactly what they're looking for. And, you know, that experience makes a difference to them as well.
Love it. Colleen, you mentioned pricing, talking with sellers. How are you navigating pricing conversations with sellers or, you know, helping buyers stay engaged despite higher rates?
Yeah.
You said the rates aren't that high or low inventory.
That's a mindset. So I definitely think about, you know, knowing your inventory levels, studying those list price to sale price ratios when you're in front of a seller. You know, what is the story behind the headlines? What does that all look like for your seller? You know, Mike had an amazing meeting a couple weeks ago about the mid-year market. Did you guys actually watch that, or go on or subscribe on the Keller Williams, you know, KWGM YouTube channel and watch that? I don't know many CEOs of a, you know, real estate company that can actually educate on the economy and what's going on in the market. And I can guarantee you, if you're up against other brokerages and co-brokes, your conversation is a lot different than theirs. Okay, we have an economist as a CEO, right? Not many do. So if you haven't watched it, I would highly encourage you to do that. There are great slides on there to watch that. Are you attending the, you know, our market center meetings from a company standpoint to know what's going on with interest rates and whatnot? To have intelligent conversations, as Sean and Dave are on there with the market. So I really think it's just a culmination of everything, but it's being really, you know, thrown into the circle, so to speak, on all levels.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Lucas, what about from you? What are you guys doing pricing with sellers?
It is everything she just said, to knowing exactly. There's not a week that goes by that we don't know not only our data, but the local MLS data to the neighborhood data. It's part of our, I'm not going to go through my listing presentation script, but part of it is I'm sitting here and I'm paid to bring care and candor. And what I mean by that, and I walk them through it. In fact, I'm paid by those that choose to work with me and I choose to work with them to bring a level of conversation, factual data based off your price. It's going to be continuing week in, week out. It can change. I'm always going to, I promise, to over communicate that data, and we're going to have conversations on the market. So I'm promising that up front, and I'm bringing factual data. I don't know about your market stats. Our days in the market are going up.
Yep.
Things are changing. We're not looking at comps 6 months ago. We're looking at comps within 60 days. And it's on the market, we're continually looking. What did this one sell for? What was the list to sales price ratio? I'm calling those other agents, and I'm having this conversation with my sellers. I made a living launching my business with expireds, and it was always, well, this agent never told me this. And I vowed to always be the agent, to be upfront and have the care and candor, because I do care that they accomplish their goals, and sometimes that's delivering data and having a level of conversation through love that hopefully they're okay with.
Before Cassie answers the question, my next question was about data points. Outside of days on market, list to sales price ratio, what other data points are you guys watching? Are you talking to sellers about?
I mean, that is the biggest thing, and hyper local to their neighborhood. People usually aren't going that in, but it is days on the market. It is having a level of care and candor, also with their condition up front and continual, because a new home popped up.
Yep.
So I promise them, when that new home pops up, that mirrors theirs and it has new wood flooring, we're gonna have that conversation. So what is the data point that matters for that neighborhood and that seller? And that's what you should be digging in constantly. I mean, my day was follow-up Fridays. I'm doing my research, and they knew when I called them or sat down with them on Fridays to review what was happening, it was all the metrics. From clicks to on all the sites, all the way down.
Love it.
I think,
Cassie?
Josh, you could add, sorry, real quick, you could add absorption rates, trend graphics,
Yep.
and you also could add showing time. You can track the showings if you're not getting showings in a certain price point in the neighborhood, you know, and track all that data for them, because they say, oh, well, it's your fault that our condo is, or our house is not showing, or, you know, getting shown. And so, but are there others as well that aren't getting shown? And you can provide that through showing time.
One question, and again, we'll get to Cassie in 1 second, but I'm curious, because like I'm sure a lot of people here are sitting like and saying, I'm not super analytical, or you mentioned a high C seller who is super analytical. When is it too much? Like, when is too much data for like a high I or a high S? Is there too much data, or is it like drop in with a couple stats and you know like the narrative, what you got to get going to?
I think a lot of it is, you know, when you do your pre-qual on the seller and buyer, you got to determine their personality type. And then you're going to go into that conversation when you're face-to-face, knowing their personality type and know when it is too much. A high I is going to talk, you know, all day long about the purple walls and the orange this and that. They don't really care about all that.
Yep.
And how do we adjust our personality as salespeople to that specific personality type? And if you don't know your personality types, take it. It's free online.
Lucas, anything to add about, like, is it too much data? Is there too much data?
She nailed it with knowing personality types. I mean, that should be a skill that everybody works to develop, to get an idea of who you're talking to and working with, tied to gaining trust up front. If you have a level of trust and this person's not a data person, I have conversations. They're like, Luke, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I don't need all that. That's okay.
Love that. Cassie, what about for you? Pricing, how are you handling the conversations now?
I would say for me, it's more of like that buy side question with like the low inventory. You know, I think I'm fortunate enough to be on a team where like right now I have a buyer kind of like in a really tough price point to where I was able to find something off market that our team had, secure it under contract, and not even go to the market with it. So that's one thing you can do for buyers. One is also, you know, there are for sale by owners. I kind of look at that too. If I'm not finding anything for current buyers, like what is something extra I can do? And I think I did 5 for sale by owners last year. Like they're out there, they could work for buyers. It's just something that you also have to look at. And then because days on the market are a little longer, I'm always playing around with my buyer searches. Can I search above their budget, something that's been on the market longer? Take that chance and maybe negotiate a price a little lower that kind of fits what they're looking for.
Incredible. We are going to open this up later for questions, so if you guys have some questions, keep them in mind. We'll touch on them a little bit. Cassie, if you could only generate business from one lead source for the rest of the year, what would it be and why?
For me, it's my past clients. Past clients are, I think, huge for me for doing it for 13 years. When I was on my other team, I just worked with buyers, and so now, you know, I always stay in touch with them. I use social media to stay in touch with them. Those buyers are now reaching out to me to sell. And with social media, I stay in touch with all of them. I know when birthdays, anniversaries, babies happening. I've gotten invited to weddings and birthdays. So my past clients are a big part of my business.
Love it. Lucas?
Just one?
Just one.
Just one.
I'm torn. I was previously just passionate about expireds for many of the reasons I told you.
Yeah.
Having said that, right now, golden letters.
Okay.
Golden letters.
Will you, for those who don't know what a golden letter is, will you give them a quick snippet
Essentially,
of
I mean, we farm out and we'll send thousands and thousands of letters that I get to pay my kids to do this. We'll talk about tax incentives later. And essentially, I have a buyer. Are you looking? And then we put a MOFR in there, or not to make a plug, but a fellow link in there. It is because we still overall have a lower inventory, and we've got a pent-up demand with buyers just on our team. So just being honest, we're double dipping a lot of those, and we've got a little Google map with all the pins of people that if I got this, then I would this, and also finding what they would look for. So we did it years ago, ramping it back up, and having a lot of success. So right now, that's probably my answer.
Love it. Colleen, what about for you?
SOI referrals all day long, my sphere of influence. So if I'm adding 5 contacts to my database each week, and do the math, times 5, times 52 weeks, you should be around 260 a year, times 5. You're adding over 1,000 contacts to your database within 5 years. And if you're in touch with that, and they're on a touch program, whether it be call, text, newsletters, whatever you may do, that trust is there. You can convert quicker. You may still be interviewing other realtors, but the relationship is there because it's a referral. And I can, after 20 years, I don't really care about the market shift. I'll take referrals all day long because that's what my business is.
So I think what's incredible is three different people, 3 different answers. It's like if you don't have past clients yet, like Cassie said, you've got Sphere. If you want to send out golden letters but you don't have a MOFR, it's like you can sign up for Fellow, you can do that. Like you want to go after listings, there's the golden letters. You want to, what'd you say, 5? You're adding 5 a week to your database.
52 weeks.
And then you gotta talk to them.
Right.
So you hit your 20 contacts a day, and you guys could be sitting up here in like 6 months.
No market shift. No market shift can take away from your relationships.
Fact.
Doesn't matter the market.
That's incredible. So it'll be interesting, this next question, 2 kind of like team leaders and 1 Cassie coming from the agent ranks. But Colleen, what separates agents who get leads but don't convert from those who turn leads into lifelong clients?
I would say follow-up and connection. 2 things, 100%. Agents who don't convert leads often treat them as transactions. And you need the ones that succeed are going to be better at that. So they're going to be faster, they're going to be more consistent at that. So I definitely think you need to have a culture within your team or within yourself, whether you hire your first admin, to have that integrity, the strategy. But lifelong clients come from relationships. They don't come from scripts on a phone.
Incredible. Yeah. Lucas, what about for you? What do you think the difference is?
I'm going to take that and then go deeper just because I'm in the thick of this right now with what I said. There's a mindset of the mind and even the heart where I see that, and I'm seeing it with my team. I told you we're working on. And it's that lead receive versus lead nurture. Because even that lead nurture ties to the caring, the non-transactional side, where even if you are a caring individual, but you're of the mindset of that lead receive versus just a mindset of lead nurturing, it just opens up a whole nother lifelong client aspect. It's felt.
Love it. Cassie, what about from your perspective?
I would say the same. I'm not like a transactional person. Like I like having that relationship. It kind of builds that trust. And, I think Trish is here. She's a lifelong client of mine of over 10 years. Bought and sold multiple houses. We've stayed in touch through the past 10 years. And now she, got her license and was super excited about that, even though she'll be doing her own sales in the future. But, being there for that journey, and that's a long relationship that we've had together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. Lucas, let's start with you with this one. I feel like we started to touch on it. Maybe you can go a little deeper. At what point in your career did you realize you needed leverage, either in systems or people? And what was the first key hire or automation you put in place?
I kind of led into that a little bit earlier. I was crushing, didn't listen to my coach. If I had, I would have made those hires 2 years at least before then.
Okay.
My first key hire onboarded me in real estate 20 and a half years ago.
Oh, wow.
With the prior company I was at. She retired 3 years ago and still works for me 2 to 3 days a week, which is kind of funny, and she can't get enough.
What position was she in, or is she in?
Well, just as an agent, when you start, you're wearing a lot of hats. She wore all the hats because of her experience and longevity. 2 weeks later, she handed me a policy and procedures manual for our team. And I was like, it's just you and me, Rhonda. But that's where she came. She came from the largest brokerage in our area at the time, and started with 3 people. She was one of them, to over 1,000 agents. And yeah, I was drowning. I literally said, hey, if you could help me on your spare time, ha ha ha. In reality, I would say this: look for true talent. Her response to me, she quietly followed behind me. I didn't know she was behind me, and walked back to my office, put her arm on my elbow and said, were you serious? And I was like, oh, Rhonda, I can't. Like, you run this company. And she goes, I choose happiness. which made for an awkward conversation with my broker owner later. And she's been with me ever since.
Incredible.
Ever since.
Incredible. Cassie, what about for you? When did you realize you needed leverage, and how did you go about getting that?
I feel like when I moved to the Young Team, that was kind of like my point of getting that leverage. The team I was on kind of like dissolved the team I was on. And it also had no systems. Like I was on there for 9 years I had a Google sheet that was my system. So I knew anywhere I went, I definitely had to level up with the systems and leverage. And 2 years later, I'm still here. So it was a good decision.
Nice, good decision for us too. Colleen, what about for you? You talked about like 10 years, 10 million, multiple years in a row. Was the leverage before that? Was it scaling the team?
I had a limiting belief that I could do it all myself, and that I didn't need to hire a transaction coordinator because nobody can do it like Colleen, right? So until I came here and switched, and I did hire, if you follow the model of the MREA, your first hire should be an admin. So I recruited the front desk girl at our past brokerage to come to Keller Williams and be my admin. And she changed my life. And I slowly let go. And it was hard, but I had to get uncomfortable, and I can't do it all myself, and that limiting belief kind of disappeared.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. We do not condone stealing people from your brokerage.
We both said prior brokerage, just to be clear.
If you like someone at our current brokerage, don't leave the brokerage to steal them and then come back. We don't condone that either.
Recruit, sorry, wrong group.
Colleen, how do you keep culture and performance aligned as your business grows?
I think culture drives performance. I think it's who you surround yourself with and who's on the team. And for me, someone that's on my team that's making me feel uncomfortable is pushing me. And someone that's just, doesn't have the fire in their belly to have that drive, they're not going to succeed. And of course, you can always have the cocktail parties and the quarterly events, but it's who you surround yourself with daily, that accountability, and the networking and the relationships that you have on the team.
Love it. Lucas, you mentioned you guys are going through a bunch of changes and kind of rebuilding. How are you keeping culture?
Our motto on that hasn't changed. In fact, our unofficial slogan is, and I have a T-shirt that says, we're a culture of productivity and fun. Those two things matter to us. My real down and dirty answer is the word intentionality. It takes being intentional to grow a culture, keep a culture in line, as well as the productivity side. Without letting either one of them flounder, it takes being intentional. And yes, that could be all of us go to our lake house and I destroy them tubing, or whatever it is. It takes being intentional. And the same with productivity. So I'm here in Cleveland all this week. Well, I still have my standing meetings with my 4 key people, and that's on the productivity side. That takes intentionality.
That's amazing. So for those that don't know, Cassie runs the culture committee so we call it culture committee?
Yes.
Culture committee.
Yes.
I get confused sometimes, culture club, which is a band.
Yes, a little bit of a
Cassie
difference.
runs culture committee for the Young Team. Cassie, tell us a little bit about how you're helping keep the culture or build the culture at the Young Team.
I think, being on the team, there's so many different personalities. What I love about the culture and like me helping as well is, we can help run events, we can help do the social stuff as well. Culturally, like Kate and I run open houses, so her and I get to partner and do that together. I can, learn from Jen culturally, and like she's an amazing luxury agent. That kind of also gets spread across like the whole team. I get to help, the newer agents kind of grow and learn from that as well. And so it's like the culture has to be right for everyone, and it just builds everyone up and just makes for an amazing team.
Cool. We got 4 more I think, shorter questions. Cassie, what advice would you give to an agent who wants to grow but feels overwhelmed by the idea of building a team or managing people?
I think my answer is going to be differently because I would never want to grow a team or like do anything. That's why I joined a team.
I think that right there is the simplest answer there is.
But if you're like a newer agent and you're just trying to grow, like reach out to other agents at your brokerage to do open houses or shadowing. You know, if you're an agent that feels like a team might be a good fit for you, we have so many, great teams at the brokerage. See if there's a team that kind of aligns with what you're looking for and, explore that option.
That's perfect. Lucas, we were talking about this earlier. You've grown a team, you've had some people leave to grow a team. What advice would you give them, and when would you say, like, maybe just stay on a team or join a team?
I actually think you were the perfect person to answer that, because that was choosing leverage. And I don't push, I coach people that are on teams and off teams. But that's a perfect answer. You chose to grow and join and partner in a different way. When I was a solo producing and growing my business, I did have to make a choice. And back then there wasn't transaction coordinators that you had to hire an assistant. I didn't know any. But start small. What can you leverage?
Yep.
Is it somebody leveraging open houses because you're doing a different productivity act, whatever it is, or leveraging a transaction coordinator, or leveraging joining a whole team? Explore that, and you can start small. Is there somebody you can partner with to relieve showings or open houses or transactional work? Start there. And yeah, managing people is not for everyone. It is definitely not.
Yeah. Colleen?
Yeah, I would say same thing. Start small, start smart. You don't need a full-blown team overnight. Focus on what's stealing your time and use that for leverage. We have an amazing, if you're a solo agent and you're thinking about joining a team, we have an amazing leverage center. You can start with the transaction coordinator right then and there, right? That would be the first thing. You don't necessarily need an assistant per se, full-blown on the team, but they are acting as your assistant to help alleviate some of that. What's keeping you busy, right? Growth should feel like freedom, not the weight on the team. So you don't need a full-blown team overnight. Just start small and start smart. I have to agree with you with this.
Colleen's going to kill me. I promised her I wouldn't change the order.
Oh.
I want to go to the last question first and then end with the two above it. Colleen, what daily or weekly habits has the biggest ROI in your business? Are there any?
Yes, of course there are. Yes. So I would say, first of all, I was very intentional this year about tracking our dials, contacts, conversions, everything, appointments set, appointments went on, and your paperwork signed. Because in October, when we have our business planning clinic and whoever's our guest speaker stands up and asks what your conversion rate is, do you actually know it because you tracked your numbers for the year? And if you don't have the numbers and you just wing it, are you really setting yourself up for success for 26? Or even if you wanted to, look at Q4 going into, as we are in the middle of, or started quarter 3, or in the middle of it, sorry. But I definitely think accountability, and tracking that, because you can't measure what you don't track.
Love it. Lucas, what about for you?
That's the most passionate topic I could ever talk about for the next 2 hours. What you just said is, even when someone joins my team, like I right to their face and tell them I'm excited for 3 to 6 months from now, because then I can really coach you.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to coach important to you now, but when you track, like I've had a team, I told you earlier, one of my buyer's agents sold 88 homes. It was the largest he'd ever done. The year prior was half that. And it was because of the level of tracking on everything. Now he's young, single, no kids, no girlfriend at the time, so he just prospected. He was on the phone doing all the things, double what anybody else was. And because we had that data, we could analyze it, track it, meaning if any one of you told me, hey, I did 25 deals and I want to do 30. Well, if you have those level of metrics, that I could sit down with you, coach you, and tell you, you only need to make 2 more contacts a week. There's power in knowing that to go to the next level. So if there's one thing, track your everything.
Love it. Cassie, what about for you?
I'll kind of briefly talk about like last year for me, because I think I had my biggest year in real estate last year. And for me, it was open houses at that point. Probably over 100 open houses held. 25% of my closings came from open houses. So you.
That's awesome.
But it's like that, continuous follow-up, do them weekly. The follow-up plan that we have in place for that it can be huge for your business.
Amazing. All right, last two questions. I want to open it up to the group. The hard-hitting questions. Cassie, what is one sentence? What does it actually take to win in real estate?
I wrote it down.
Me too.
I said, it takes killer instincts, hustle, drive, and a trust building that turns your clients into raving fans.
Will you say that
And
one more time?
Slower. It takes killer instincts, hustle, drive, and trust building that turns clients into raving fans. And that's what I call my past clients that continuously refer people to me are my raving fans.
Love it. Lucas, what about for you? What does it actually take to win in real estate?
Take all of those words and apply it to, it's a contact sport. It just is. And it doesn't, in the sphere of influence, your friends, it doesn't matter what we're in a contact sport.
Colleen?
I wrote it down as well. It takes relentless consistency, deep relationships, and the ability to adapt faster than the market can shift. Getting back to the accountability question you had asked, every day, wherever you go, you have to be having real estate conversations. And I'm going to tell you my famous story in the past couple weeks. I grabbed to-go food from my family, and I was sitting there, and there was a guy sitting next to me. We were just talking, and all you have to say is, "Where do you live?" And it turned into a whole lead source, and I sold him a house in Menor for $350,000. So it's everywhere you go, you have to be talking real estate.
Love it. If you guys go to www.theyoungteam.com/masterminds, we'll have posters for sale of Colleen and Cassie's one sentence. Give us like 2 weeks to get that up there. All right, last question I have. Colleen, what's a hard truth that most agents need to hear but don't want to?
I would say your pipeline is a reflection of your habits. If you're not busy, and it's because you're just not consistent daily.
Cassie, what about for you? What's the hard truth that they need to hear but they don't want to?
It's not easy. It doesn't come overnight. It's a lot of that consistency that you have to build that pipeline to build a consistent business.
Love it. Lucas?
Show me your calendar, and I guarantee you I can tell you what your business looks like or doesn't.
So simple, not easy.
Yeah.
All right, incredible. I'm sure you guys have some questions. Let's open it up. Who's got some questions? Anybody?
If you did have one, what
Jen
would it
Waters.
I have a question. On average, because I know day-to-day varies, how long would it take you or your team to reach 20 contacts?
be? You asked me?
Yeah.
Now, we're getting back to this right now. That's why I just was talking about the failed thing. It is going back to the intentional word. I do agree with them, don't tell my son this, that it's taking more to get 20 contacts now than it did 4 years ago when it was our actual habit. I have a lead manager, if you will, all things from our database to everything else that now is getting back to when they show up, we're getting back to the point of we know exactly who we're calling from your sphere, your whatever else, and we're playing with that right now. Is this getting us, got us 7 contacts. Okay, well, do we need to mix that up? What's that? We do 7th level open houses. We circle prospect around that as an example. So what is the perfect mixture? And let's just say there's 8 work hours in a day. I don't know. You started my team. If you have no other business, you should get 40 contacts. Well, that's in whatever length of time that takes. But be intentional with that and map that out. So I have a long-standing ISA or ISA team. When they leave every day, it's mapped out what they're going to call the next day. So they're intentional with it. So otherwise you show up. I know I do. If I don't have this, I show up for whatever role I have in our team and world, and I spend the first 45 minutes a day thinking about what I'm going to call or who I'm going to call into. Don't do that. Be intentional, and it's a lot easier.
Jen, I would say on ours, it's probably 7 to 10 is more realistic. So once those conversations start going, and if you time block for 2 hours, just do 10 an hour. One conversation could end up being 20 minutes, right?
That's why I was just curious.
Yeah.
And obviously you make a bunch of calls,
Yep.
people don't answer. So
Sure.
it's
Of course.
it's-
Right, yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're
But
calling.
a contact is someone you've had a real estate conversation with. That to me is just a dial where I left a voicemail, in my opinion.
It's also, it's one of those things that I would say what we're learning is like, don't leave here today if you're not making any contacts and be like, next week I gotta hit 20 a day.
Yeah.
Like that's probably unrealistic. Like if you're not making any contacts, start with 1 a day, start with 3 a day. And then it's like once you're doing that, get to 5. And then, and then it starts becoming really just based on the results you want, right? If you want to sell 10 houses a year and you can do that 3 contacts a day, you're probably doing fine, right? If you want to level up and grow your business, you got to start. But the idea, if you're going to just like, I'm going to walk out of here and just 20 contacts a day, if you've never hit numbers like that or don't have the systems in place,
Sure.
probably setting yourself up for failure, but it's definitely doable.
But also too, you can call all day long, but the fortune, as they say, is in the follow-up. So with your lead gen time, do you have then a lead follow-up time block? Because those leads are never going to
Yeah.
convert.
Don't confuse those 2 times. I'm like,
No.
mine are separate.
Yeah,
One's in
absolutely.
the morning, one's in the afternoon. They're separate and separate things.
What other questions we got, Danielle?
So you guys talked earlier about the changing market, some of the data points you guys bring. We're seeing right now that, the market's obviously changing from not being a seller's market. And so homes that are priced right, are still in condition, contingent, right? Tend to be selling faster, some even still with multiple offers, where those homes that are overpriced, they're just sitting there, right? That days on market is definitely getting longer. How are you guys handling those conversations with those sellers who, are pretty adamant that they want the price that they want, and now the market is changing from that aspect?
You're looking at me. Do you want me to answer first? I'm so intentional with those conversations up front, and it's kind of like knowing someone's personality. If I'm going to sit down with a client, even before I go out there, if one of my ISAs sends me the notes and it's not to my standard, I send it back and say I'm not going on an appointment. I know it sounds like a lot, but what is their true why and motivation? So someone doing this 20 and a half years, people tell, I'm not in a hurry, I want my price or nothing. The reality is they really do need to move for X, Y, and Z, or it's just I was going to say a fart in the wind, throwing their house up, and I'll sell it 100 grand more. I'm not your agent. But I'm going to explore that. Do they truly have a why? And I'm always going to meet them there. That's part of, I view myself as a coach to my clients. A coach, consultant, friend, and their therapist. But being upfront and forward with that, I do turn down listings if we're too far off. If it is, well, can we try this? If it's within a range, I teach my 2 listing agents, I have a pre-signed. It's the way I did it years ago. I have a pre-signed at 21. Now that thing can go in the trash. But again, I'm also promising that I'm going to stay weekly, regular, intense communication on what the market's doing, from showing time data to everything else. So I'll release somebody if we're not in the same blank. But I meet them where they're at, and I remind them, I coach them. That's it.
Danielle, I think a lot too is that pre-qual seller qualification. I always ask, do you have any idea what your home is worth prior to me coming over? Because I don't know, I haven't seen it. I know what you've done to it since you told me during this process of being on the phone with you for 15 minutes. So I have some idea of what I'm walking into versus the data that I pulled. And what is that conversation? So then it turns into more of an education to them. Because guess what, 9 times out of 10, you might have an appraisal. And I don't know if I can support the comps that, when you think your house is worth, X, Y, Z. And you don't know until the buyer comes in, but there's always cash buyers that could pay for an appraisal. It's happened, not in this market, but prior to the crash they did. And so I think it's educating the client, and again, going back to their motivation of why they're moving.
I love that. Thank you guys.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
So this is for Cassie. So you said that 25% of your deals last year was through open houses?
Yes.
How many conversions were the house that you were holding?
Maybe 2.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So mostly it's getting buyers.
Yes, mostly picking up the buyers and finding them something else. And the other ones that were the ones that bought the house were investors. Just looking specifically, the rest were picked up buyers buying something else.
you guys would like to hear about open houses in more detail, August panel will be on open houses.
Nice.
See, that was a good segue for me.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I gotta give Marty $5 later. So who else has got questions? Any questions? All right.
I have a question.
Please.
What is one thing you guys have learned today or going to take away, implement in your business? Or an aha? Anyone? Jeff?
Relationships. I very often get bogged down in something happens.
Yeah.
It's the details.
Mm-hmm.
And as Lucas said, there are no emergencies in real estate.
Right.
That's brilliant.
Anybody else?
So I'm taking away killer instincts, hustle, drive, trust your ratings, relentlessness, consistency, adaptability, and don't be afraid to talk to everybody about real estate.
Love it.
Amazing. I think I saw a hand in the back there.
There's a few.
Jeffy?
Yeah, hi. I got my license in May, and I am with Keller Williams citywide, and I was wondering what the track would be to get into the luxury, other than, popping out and getting you guys my new card.
Did you say into luxury?
Yeah, what you guys are into.
It's a great question.
Jen Waters.
Yeah. We have Jen Waters, who is the president of our luxury division over here. I would grab Jen after the panel's over, and she can tell you a little bit. We did a panel a couple months ago about luxury, but
Yeah.
I'm going to ad lib to that though. Whatever Jen says is amazing. But luxury is a lifestyle. Luxury is, where you hang out, where you eat, where you live. If you have kids, where they go to school. It just doesn't happen overnight. They're going to go sell $1 million home. It's who you hang out with, and I believe truly it is a lifestyle. Yeah.
you have a question?
In addition to Jen's comments.
Somebody.
So my takeaway is I need to really beef up how I work with showing time and the MLS to get stats. So I'm just not tech savvy, and so I need to figure out how I'm gonna.
Just make it up then.
We'll talk to leadership about a class. We'll talk to leadership about a class, right? Julia, add that to the list.
Showing time reports are amazing.
They are.
Yes, they're very powerful, especially if you've got something that
Sitting.
you're getting a lot of showings. Is your market's working? And if you're not getting a lot of showings, it's because the market isn't producing right now. It's very powerful.
Love it.
The market determines the price, not us.
Anybody else with a comment? Cool. If not, go ahead.
Yeah, I like the we are real estate coaches, because I think that's a different framework to go off of when you're on a listing appointment. It's like, I'm here to coach you. I'm not here to tell you what I think, but I'm here to help you get what you want. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's our job.
You know what will stop them in their tracks when they interview for a listing? I said, well, I'm interviewing you as well. And they don't know what to say after that. Where do I sign? Because Mark, you said you don't take all the listings.
Yeah, the best way to not take all the listings and to interview the sellers as well is by consistently prospecting, so that you have plenty of opportunities. Love it. All right, well, a couple things. As I mentioned, if you guys are enjoying this, we've got another panel. It's always going to be the third Thursday of the month. Katie, is that right? 11 o'clock in August is on open houses. Also, we are super fortunate to have Lucas in town because KW is putting on a big event tomorrow. One of the three of you, can you just tell everybody about it real quickly? Whoever's the right person.
Yeah, Summer Masterminds tomorrow is one of our biggest events of the year. We have two really incredible keynote speakers traveling quite a far way to join us, and then we have a full day of breakouts from top agents in the area. Not all KW, so it'll be a really great perspective just to see what some really high performers are doing to win in the market right now.
Love it. Yep, and Lucas will be moderating a panel. Myself and Ryan will be on a panel. So if you guys haven't signed up yet, please sign up. If not, if you've already signed up, we'll see you tomorrow. But really appreciate all three of you, Lucas for coming to town, Cassie, of course, and Colleen for filling in within 2 hours.
Thanks, Colleen.